Welcome to the 2007 SCCA National Championship Runoffs. Last year in Grand Touring 2, the battles began early as the 46 of former champ Jim Goffrey found out with this lurid spin. Up front, Michael Mirren, the 96, knocked on the door, now making the bumper for the lead. And he got by Waylon Joe in the GT3 as the battle of the Porsches commenced. 2 laps later, Mirren came in way too deep. Joe swung to the inside, got the lead back. Action a bit further back as the 90 of Van Sailor just avoided a tangle in turn 1 to hang on to 4th. Waylon Joe, with about a 2-second lead over Mirren, took the checkers and fulfilled his ultimate goal to win the runoffs and become a national champ. GT2 is a class currently undergoing an evolution. There are certainly still the traditionalists led by Tom Patton, 99 gold medalist in this 67 Sunbeam Tiger. Ultra Quick won the sprints this year. Last year, Contact early in the event, but he still came back for a bronze. He's looking for another gold. The new order is led by Waylon Joe, number 1 on that beautiful GT3 Porsche, the defending champion. He's been super quick this year. Pole at the sprints, but mechanical DNFs have hurt dearly. Only 2 wins. He's looking to get back on the podium. But the guy who hopes maybe it's a revolution is Jim Walsh. He's the Northern Pacific Division champion, 5 wins with 5 poles. And although this is his first runoffs, he was second here at the August National. He likes this track. He's going to the front. The evolution in GT2 continues under the bodywork as well. They're running bigger wheels for the tube frame cars this year and also different engine restrictors. But for Jim Goffrey in this beautiful Nissan, he hopes it's the same result as he had in 2003, gold. Jerry Mason also running tube frame equipment. His lone gold medal came in 1986 in showroom stock A, but he's back running his beloved GT2 car and looking to go for another gold. And for Tony Rivera, well, how about something new and different? Yes, he's still running Spec Miata and E-Prod at the runoffs, but he decided to try GT2 and in a Panos GTS car. Big V8 under the hood. It may be new, but he won the August National here at Heartland Park. He knows this track, and he's got raw speed. The Sports Car Club of America is the home of amateur road racing. A full season of national level division racing, 9 divisions, and after a full season, the top finishers in division come to Heartland Park, Topeka for the 2nd year to determine national champions. And we start today with Grand Touring 2, one of the fastest, most powerful classes in SCCA. It's the 44th National Championship Runoffs presented by AT&T. Greg Creamer with Dan Binks, John Bizignano, and Sandy Hang in pit lane. Let's get down to Sandy.
There are so many obstacles that racers have to overcome just to get through the season and make it here to the runoffs. And Pete Baynard in the number 22 has had even more than the usual gremlins hit him. His last trip to Topeka this summer, 10 miles from the track, a deer in the road, they had to swerve, turned over the entire rig, everything in it, had to rebuild the entire car, but they got it back together to qualify for the runoffs, and he's qualified 9th here today. Let's go down pit road to my colleague, John Bizignano. Biz?
Well, thank you, Sandy. They've just given the 1-minute number down here, and we are looking at the beautiful car number 60, a Porsche 911, one of the strong cars in this class historically, but they've been beaten back by the competition. This car belongs to Jim Gray. They have turned it out in a way that they've never really set up for before. They're not happy with the speed during 4 days of practice and qualifying. They've made some untested changes, looking for a couple seconds off their time. We'll see if they've got it right or not. He finished first in his division. He should be up the grid.
All right, that is the field as they are making their way onto the track, and some of this little bit of last-minute changes and the like coming in because there have been some changes to the track itself. Some of these teams have come in and been handcuffed a little bit, especially since this is only the 2nd year you've run it at Heartland Park. You show up last year, here's the track layout, you make the changes, you've got all of that set up in the car, and then this year some more changes were made to the track and they've had to kind of scramble a bit now.
Yes, they have. There's a big change here in 1 and 2. And then the most important parts are through these S's, and then turn 6 is very important. Turn 9 is totally different, very, very fast, 50 miles an hour faster down into turn 10. And then what we call the autocross section down here, very tight, bumping and banging and out onto the front straightaway.
Characteristics of this track change. The Grand Touring category is a good one. This is GT2.
GT2, there's really heavy modified cars, all tube frame, and then they have the GT3 cars, which are purpose-built race cars by Porsche.
And it has resulted in a good mix. You've got the tube frames, you've got basically the ride and drives, buy them and go racing, and it has proven to be an interesting mix. SCCA has got the formula pretty good. Waylon Joe, awfully talented driver, and he has been able to make the most of it. Qualified second last year, on pole here, looking for that second consecutive national championship. But he's got some awfully good drivers and former champions around him. We'll be back to see how it turns out at Heartland Park. Welcome back to Heartland Park, Topeka. 18 laps about to unfold in the quest for the national championship in Grand Touring 2. GT2 field out on the pace and parade laps. And I had mentioned just a little bit ago that it is the defending champ sitting on the pole with a very strong lap in qualifying in one of those Porsche GT3s. But he does have a few national champions, past national champions around him. It should make his life interesting, especially if they can get a jump on him. James Goffrey, a two-time champ. Number 50, Tom Patton, the 99 champ. He's eligible for the Triple Crown, having won his division in the very prestigious June Sprints. Tony Rivera running 3 different classes here this weekend, very busy. Jerry Mason, an 86 gold medalist in showroom stock. How about you, Danny? Anybody you're looking at?
Yeah, Milton Grant and Richard Smith, they're starting 14th and 15th, are both divisional champions. And Henderson will not start. He was the last car there. He didn't make it.
All right, what's going on down at pit lane, Biz?
Well, sometime during this broadcast, you're going to hear the term a tube car. What that is, it's a purpose-built race car, and the tubes are the chassis. It's the steel that makes up the chassis of the car. Then they hang the body panels on that. Now, a tube car, purpose-built race car, should have a technical advantage over some of the heavily modified production cars in this event. Let's go down to Sandy Hang.
Well, I just want to tell you a little bit about one of the cars that we haven't talked about yet, and that's the number 32 of Jeff Moore. The reason I want to talk about it is he qualified extremely well, qualified in 7th for his first runoffs, and there's so much emotion, so much work goes into preparing for this moment to be able to run in a national championship. He's a little bit nervous, but he's definitely got his hands on the wheel, and he is very excited to be here. Guys?
All right, we'll be keeping an eye on him. Certainly a great run in his division, and parlayed it into a great qualifying effort. A lot of fun for these guys to show up at a track like this, in a class like this. A lot of tradition in this class. It's been around for almost 30 years. Here we go. Pace car is in. Waylon Joe, the Porsche on the left of your screen. On the pole next to him, Jim Goffrey, and it all is going to come down to the start here. Goffrey looked like he got a little bit of momentum. Tony Rivera in that GTS, the Panos car, on the outside, but Waylon Joe able to get the run down into the first turn. And Patton, oh, there's contact early. Rivera goes around. Patton gets climbed right up and over Patton, the other Panos GTS car, and right at the top, 3 cars in big, big trouble in the early going here.
Yeah, it looked like the 31 went around the outside there, lost it, and you know, the Sunbeam Tiger there at Patton didn't have anywhere to go, and then these cars ended up together.
Yeah, the 31 of Mark Plummer, and the other car I think is Tony Rivera, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. And
whoa, a little excitement here.
Looks that Patton has come over, and he is hot right now. So let's go back and take a look here. Boy, he is angry.
Yeah, he is. You know, the first lap, to get taken out like that is just very, very upsetting. These guys race here for 2 weeks or practice, and
so yeah, Patton very, very hot right now. And well, as you said, I mean, you prep all year, you work hard, you come here to have that happen in the early going is just tough. But then again, it's a national championship, and some of the guys that have qualified back a little bit, if you can make up 2-3 spots in the early going, that can help a lot. Let's go back and take another look at it.
Yeah, it looked like the Panos just started to get loose, and then Patton got into it with them, and just a big wreck there.
A little bit different angle. See where it started.
31 there, I think, gets loose. Oh, it looked like he might have got a little help from the 52 there. Tony Rivera might have got in the back of him a little bit. And then the 3 of them just got together.
Patton was kind of in the middle of them, too, got sandwiched.
Yeah, oh, Patton actually got turned also.
Yeah, by 52, I think, and then got, boy, he hit 52. Rivera went up over both of them. So tough incident right at the very start. There's Tom Patton, and obviously very upset. Very experienced driver in this category, knows you got to get through the first couple of corners. He is just beside himself right now, and of course that's going to make things a lot easier for Waylon Joe, having a number of his top competitors out. James Goffrey, though, two-time champ in this category, was able to slot into second, has a good run going, and the problem is he going to be able to catch our defending champ?
I'm not sure if he is or not. Looks like Jim Walsh is putting down some pretty good laps. Waylon Joe is just pulling away a little bit here. Got a good race right here.
Yep, the number 32, Jeff Moore, doing a nice job hanging on in front of the 74 of Jerry Mason. Jerry Mason, as I mentioned, a gold medalist in showroom stock A in 1986. So he's been running this runoffs for a very long time in different categories of cars, stepping up to GT2, and not a big surprise because of that incident in that first corner. We have a full course caution to get that incident cleaned up. The VW pace car, the official pace car of SCCA, making its way out onto the course. And that 75 of Milton Grant running up front in his Northern Pacific division, the champion. 5 wins, 5 poles, 3 track records in the division this year. So very, very quick competition at the runoffs. Everybody steps it up, and right now he's sitting in the 5th spot. There are 2 Panos GTS cars that are now running in this category. In 52, Tony Rivera. Well, I'll tell you what, he's having a tough one. He had a silver in 2004 in E-Production. He ran in the Spec Miata class earlier, really didn't have the finish. That was a class that ran earlier in the weekend that he wanted in that category. Struggled a little bit, was hoping to do better here, and big problems in the very early going. So cleanup continues here at Heartland Park, Topeka. The early going of the National Championship. One more time, here's what happened.
Yeah.
And a couple of guys getting together and put 3 of them out. Tough break.
We spent a lot of time talking about cars and drivers, but the very lifeblood of SCCA is made up of so many members, thousands of members, who don't want the hassle of owning a car, working on a car. Instead, they work and volunteer as corner workers, getting the best seats in the house at every race. These volunteers are the lifeblood of SCCA. Jeff, Kim, and John here have more than 70 years collective experience flagging. And I tell you what, we couldn't have a race without so many members who are here for the love of the sport.
Well, nobody gets closer to the track. It is the best seat. There's Kim Joyner right there. I've known Kim for years, worked with him in many races. He's down there cleaning up some of this incident. And I tell you what, aside from getting the best seat in the house, when you, especially as a corner worker, all the volunteers are key, but you are really part of the race. You're a participant. You may not be driving, but how you flag, especially if you're throwing the blues and helping the drivers let people know other people are coming, you can play a very significant contributing role to the race. And I've done some blue flagging during a key part of a race, and when you get done, you really feel like you've been a part of it. It's very, very special indeed. And being it's a club, Sports Car Club of America, they're volunteers, and they out of pocket, they do all this. They're a pretty special group. All the volunteers are, certainly. Now, here's what they were cleaning up at this stage, and you can see kind of a big scrum heading into this first turn.
Yeah, it looks like maybe even the 96 car here might have bumped into the back of Patton and got him a little bit sideways, and then the 3 of those guys just flew off with big damage.
Yeah, and obviously Patton was upset. Now here's the angle. There's the 96.
No, it looks like the 96 was away from him. It looks like the 31 got wide, and then the 52 bumped into him, and away they go.
All right, we'll take one more look at it here. It's already started at this point.
Yeah.
Just a lot of cars going for the same piece of real estate at a key moment of the race at the start. So now we're going to slow it down here and give you the main angle on this. Really watch it here.
Over the hill. It looks like there's a little room to Patton, to that Porsche. It looks like the 31.
Everything's here looks okay.
Yeah, the 52 gets into the 31 and right about there.
Well, let's see, look, maybe the 96 did just tink one of them. Either the 52 of Rivera.
I don't know if Patton saw trouble and got on the brakes. The 96 is definitely in there. And the 96 and the 52 bumped into the 31 there and got him around, and it was a big wreck. Doesn't look like much damage on the 96, but at that point it doesn't take much contact, and you're off for a big ride like this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, a lot of cars going for the same real estate, and Tom Patton very upset. Great experience, knows you got to get through. A lot of damage to that absolutely gorgeous car, and Sandy, the crew, has to be just devastated.
Well, I'm with Bill Broxick right now, who's one of the crew members for Tom Patton. This is just a tough one to take.
Yes, it is, because we really felt confident that we could win this year. Tom's won 7 out of 7 races this year. He won the June sprints. He won his division. We felt like we were very competitive, and it's all over, I guess.
And you were watching that. Just we could barely have a view from here of that turn. We can't quite see what happened. But what did you think when you saw just a scrum and then dust, and it appeared he was off?
Well, we couldn't see what happened. We were just watching to see the cars go through, and we could see our car didn't come through where we could see him. So, you just wait and see what happens.
Well, definitely a disappointment for Bill and everybody on the team here.
Yeah, I think that replay shows right there it was the 52 of Rivera who was the one who tinked the back of Patton, but it was a lot of people in that same scrum, and if he's trying to avoid the 9-6, moves over a little bit, Patton turns across. I mean, I think it's just one of those things, and unfortunately it hurt a couple of favorites big time, and it's part of the game of racing, Danny.
It is part of the game. You check up there in turn 1, and the guys in the back are still carrying big speed, and there's just no place to go. It doesn't look like much damage on the, I can't see much, maybe a little bit of wrinkling on the 96 there.
So it would indicate that he didn't play a huge role in that incident. So, all right, Waylon Joe, though, leads, and Jim Goffrey and Jim Walsh in the other medal positions, but very early in this race. Grand Touring 2, 27 years. It has been a part of the Sports Car Club of America's national level of racing. And here at the Olympics of Amateur Motorsports, the medals are under contest at Heartland Park, Topeka. Welcome, everybody, to the 44th running of SCCA's National Championship Runoffs. And as I said, GT2, one of the great classes in the history of this club, if you will, and it's a wonderful club at that. And we've had an interesting bit of clubbing going on right at the start here, and as a result, we've been under caution. But we're looking for a green flag next time, and that makes us wonder, well, these top 2 cars, Waylon Joe and Jim Goffrey, who's going to get it? Well, let's first check in with Sandy Hang in Waylon Joe's pit.
I'm with Tom Burek, and I tell you, I've never seen a crew chief so relieved to see that all that action was behind his car, Waylon Joe. What are your thoughts here, Tom, about the restart as we prepare to go again?
Well, Waylon's basically just got to keep the position that he had and hope that there's still heat in the tires, hope that there's no dust or anything on the track still from that wreck. He's just got to basically play it like it's a whole new race and try to keep the front end and stay in there. It's about it.
As we get a few more laps under his belt, any concerns about that pack behind him as this race unfolds, knowing as aggressive as everyone was on that first lap?
Well, the biggest concern that we've got is obviously that Panos, the second Panos that's behind him, because the first one that was in the accident is out. But the second Panos also seems to have something of the same aggressiveness, and if he gets up close to Waylon, we've got some concerns, but I don't think that'll be an issue because he's pretty far back in the back, and the rest of the guys they're aggressive, but they're all also gentlemen.
Okay, that's Tom Burek, the crew chief for Waylon Joe. Let's go on down pit lane to John Bizignano. Biz?
Well, I'm standing with Gene Mazza, who is the crew chief for the number 46 cars, currently in second place. Gene, you had to be happy that he was up front when things started to come apart in turn 1.
Yeah, we're real fortunate. We had a good qualifying session that fortunately got us up to the front, and that's where you want to be. You don't want to be behind because they go for it. And they're all fast cars. The top 8, I believe, were around a second spread between the group, and you got to stay out of trouble. So.
Well, of course, he's right back in the danger zone again now on the restart. You say that, he's fairly calm and knows he's been there before, but he has to think that being up front and not letting some of that competition around him on the restart has to be the way to go.
Well, we've got a Dave Auerbach engine in there, and it's really running, so we hope he's got enough legs to stay right where we're at and then on a charge.
I don't know. They seem a little nervous down here, guys. They don't like it when all these cars are packed together. The same thing could happen again.
Well, we've seen it before. Sometimes a caution breeds another caution whenever he gets aggressive. But right there, Waylon Joe rolled into it pretty early, but Goffrey looks like he may have timed it pretty well. Green flag is out, and let's see what happens. Well, it looks like Waylon Joe's going to be able to handle it down into that first turn, and he gets there cleanly with a couple of car lengths. And maybe, actually, Goffrey may have decided, I don't want to get into this mess too early here, but I don't think he wanted to give up that much of a margin on the jump.
No, it didn't look like he got that good. He got a decent start, but the Porsches were all over him. The 96 here is on the move. Looks like that car's a little bit loose. Maybe got to get some heat in the tires here.
Look at the 74 of Jerry Mason, that old school Nissan. He took a look, but now he's backed off just a little bit from that Porsche. The number 74, white with the blue roof. Mason looking aggressive early, just not quite able to get the job done.
No, he's not. Looks like the 32 is just building some heat in his tires. Looks like the other Porsche got away from him just a little bit there.
There's the field coming through. That is Jeff Moore sitting in the 4th spot on that restart with Mason right behind him. Now watch, see, boy, Mason looked like he had a pretty good run up into the new 8-9 complex, much faster, and Moore looked to be a bit quicker through there. As a matter of fact, Moore got a great run on Walsh. Not quite enough, though.
Walsh sort of blocked on the inside. Here we go. We got somebody inside.
Number 58 is Evan Gardner, that car with the bright red on the back of it.
Yeah, we've seen a bunch of bumping and grinding there in turn 10. You can get inside, but you can't do too much there.
Derek Jones in the all-red number 71. Those two having a good run. There is Mason. Mason really pinched the exit of 14. Now, there has been some grip inside. It looks like he may have got a pretty decent run. Watch for it right here. There's the 32. There's the 74 of Mason. And then behind them, still that battle going on, too, between Derek Jones and the all-red, the Porsche. That's a Boxster, one of the few that's racing in the world. That's a project they did all by themselves. Man, right there.
Mason looks like he got a good shot through turn 1 and 2 there. The Porsche's got a little bit of legs on him there, Gerald Mason.
Ooh, but look at that move as Gardner gets sideways, trying to get that Mazda down underneath. He did it, but he's going to be on the outside here coming into turn 4. And 71, Derek Jones, retakes the spot, and a very aggressive move down the inside. Andrew Hauk, and he made the pass.
Yeah, that was great. You need to be careful here. That Toyota is going to make a jump on him, too. I think that's Paul.
Boy, Andy Hauk taking advantage of all those problems up front. Started 11th and is moving up through the pack, doing a superb job. Taking, you have an opportunity, you got to jump on it.
You do, and especially this early when all these cars are pretty even. The tires are very cold, and you just need to make your move as best you can. And that's going to cost him right there.
Ran wide, and let's see, there it is, side by side, the battle. That's Paul Baynard, the number 22. Nope, not quite able to get the move made on Evan Gardner. But again, one little bobble somewhere slows up your exit, and somebody's going to pounce.
Right, it looks like Andrew and those guys are going to get away from him.
Waylon Joe, though, continues to lead the margin up front as he's pulling away. Already 3.5 seconds. Our defending national champion is driving superbly, and obviously the car working incredibly well here at Heartland Park.
The Godfrey family has an opportunity to set a record here at the SCCA Championships. Now, as far as we know, a father-son team has never secured 2 championships on the same day in 2 different classes. Jim Sr., I've got to ask you, you're in the GT2 car. It's got to be a little bit of extra pressure for you.
It does create a bit of extra pressure, but we've done this before. We've been here before. We haven't quite pulled it off, but it'd be great to pull it off this weekend.
Well, you're going to do it early in the morning, but Jim Jr., you have to sit around till really late in the afternoon. Now, if Dad gets the championship, you're going to be sitting in that frying pan all day long.
Yeah, Sunday. If he pulls it off Sunday morning, it's going to be a very long day for me. But I think we're both up for the challenge this year, so hopefully with a little bit of luck we can get this done.
Well, I'll tell you what, on the same day they have already qualified on the front row. I'm not sure a family, father-son, have done that. Jim Goffrey Sr. here, second in the GT2 category. In a race you'll see a little bit later on is the son who's qualified on pole in the Formula Mazda car. So pretty good already. In this race right now, Goffrey's going to need a little help. Waylon Joe continues to stretch it out, and Goffrey is going to need a little help from Waylon Joe. A mechanical problem, a mistake of some sort. and needs to, right now, he's sitting in second in front of the 96 of Walsh. There is Walsh looking very strong right now and in a medal position. But the guy on the move is the one behind Walsh, the number 74, the older tube frame Nissan 300ZX. There he is, just coming into frame on that blue hood. Mason continues to march his way up through the pack. Then Jeff Moore behind him. And then we have seen the attack as well by Andy Houck. He dropped back a little bit further into the pack. This is Paul Baynard, and he in the car right in front of Evan Gardner, the number 58 Mazda. They've been having a good little scrap, and it continues. Gardner right now has the spot, and Baynard again all over him down to the inside. That was a nice piece of driving by Baynard because Gardner opened it up, and then as Baynard came down the inside, Gardner saw he was there, recognized it, did not turn in, and it would have been contact, no doubt. They gave each other racing room, and that's something you just have to do, live to fight another lap.
Yeah, there's a lot of places on this track where you can get inside and you just can't make that clean pass. I was down in the paddock earlier and looked at that 22 car. That's a beautiful Toyota.
It is, isn't it? He really has done a great job in the prep on that Celica. And right now, let's see, looked like he may have had a run going in to that very fast 8-9 complex, but I'll tell you what, the guy in front of him, Gardner, got out of it very, very well and actually has closed up on the back of the red 71 Boxster of Derek Jones. This battle essentially is for 7th. 3 cars going at it right now.
Yeah, they're really tight here. The Boxster looks like it's decent in the corners. It doesn't look like it's as fast as some of the other cars. It's for sure not as fast as the GT3 cars.
Well, I mean, you would expect. The Boxster is a car whose reputation is certainly great handling, and the guys around him running a little bit more power maybe, but you watch as Derek Jones gets out of the turn very well, and by the time the other guys spool up and get close, they've run out of straight, and that's a matter of handling, giving you exit speed, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and that's part of the whole matching game that the SCCA plays here, trying to keep these cars pretty equal, and these cars are matched almost identically.
Yeah, I mean, some cars going to be a little better on the straight, some better in the turns, but at the end of a lap, if everybody's pretty close, that's what makes it exciting. And a little bit of, ooh, look at this now. Number 96, Walsh, in that GT3 Cup Porsche is definitely closing up just a little bit on Goffrey in that Nissan 350Z. So Goffrey, that's a good battle for the second place medal, the silver place. Walsh right now holding a bronze, and they've got room back to 4th. So really, this could be a mano-a-mano battle. Again, unless Waylon Joe has problems. He looks like he maybe has this one. The margin now almost 4 seconds for Waylon Joe, but this battle for the silver closing up. Waylon Joe continues to lead here at Heartland Park, Topeka in the run for the gold in the amateur Olympics of motorsports. The battle for the silver, though, very, very good. James Goffrey in that beautiful Nissan, the red and yellow car, doing a nice job. A 350Z tube frame, purpose-built car. Right behind him, one of the Porsche GT3 category cars in the hands of Jim Walsh. 2 very different approaches to building race cars, but they are putting together a great battle, very equal right now. And you can see Walsh closing it up once again on Goffrey. You'd think the tube frame car would have an advantage, but those Porsches are pretty awesome. Oh, and in that battle a bit further back in the pack, Evan Gardner has gone around the all-red Porsche of Derek Jones. He's got a problem, I think, because suddenly now Baynard just eased by him with not a whole lot of effort, and I wonder if Derek Jones, something has gone wrong in that Boxster. He looks to be slowing up.
It did look like he slowed up a little bit. Looks like there's a little bit of front damage there. I don't know if he bumped into anybody. Now he seems to be going again. I think they just hounded him until he finally made a mistake, and then they got by.
Missed a shift, something as simple as that kills the momentum, and suddenly they're both by, and it takes you a while to get back up. So that means now Evan Gardner in that number 58 Mazda, who dropped the tire on the outside. You can see that little bobble. That's all it took, and Paul Baynard said thank you and shot underneath.
And Baynard's car is really fast through this S's here. He looks like he carries a lot of speed in, squares it up, and drives off, and looks like the 58 there of Evan Gardner just can't get through there as quick.
Well, you can see that obviously the pressure Baynard was putting on, Gardner trying to use as much arc as he can to carry speed, drop that right rear on the turn-in on the outside of the curb, and that obviously not a lot of grip when you hit the green stuff, a little wiggle, that's all it took.
Yeah, that's all it takes, a little bit of loss of forward bite. And these cars, you know, with 350 horsepower range, they could spin the tires really easy.
Yep, 350 horsepower, and remember, not a lot of weight on these cars. Now back in the battle for 10th right now, Milton Grant, the number 75, the red car, the number 60 of Tim Gray. Right there is Gray coming into your frame, the Porsche. There's Milton Grant, the number 75. That's the Courtyard by Marriott, Toyota Celica, another one of those cars. Milton Grant, a great story, the Midwest Division champ this year, and this is his 28th runoff. So he's been running in the runoffs longer than the GT2 class has existed in the runoffs.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. You can see the 60's got some legs on him. Milton's just got to hold him off, and he can get through these S's a little bit quicker than the 60. We'll have to see here. And, you know, he's moved up 5 spots. He's, you know, having a pretty good day.
Get a little help in the beginning. A couple of cars like we saw have the incident. You stay clear of that trouble and move up. And now in a very good battle with a very experienced driver. And this is Tim Gray's 4th runoff in the Ryan Company's Porsche. So he won the Central Division this year with 3 wins for Timmy Gray.
Yeah, you can see Goffrey here is, you know, pulling out a little bit. The 96 catches back up with Walsh. Goffrey's got to be careful here. If he doesn't get out on the front straightaway, I think Walsh has something for him.
Now, one of the things I wanted to ask you about, a tube frame car, particularly the Nissan, front engine, rear drive, the Porsche behind him, that big motor laying right over those rear wheels. Do either of them have an... Uh-oh, Goffrey, suddenly a lot of smoke from Goffrey, and that looks, is that out of the pipe?
It looks like it's out of the pipe.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it looks like it's out of the pipe. It probably burned a piston or something.
He is, oh boy, for James Goffrey, that is just a horrible development. But it tells you how hard they're pushing. Yep, a lot of smoke out of that pipe, Danny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just a shame, but it gives you an idea of how hard he has been driving to go for a championship or at least a medal in this category. And his day is done.
His day is done. What happens here is the engine gets lean and it burns a piston or it breaks the piston, and that's when the smoke and the oil come out of the exhaust pipe.
So that means Waylon Joe, he continues to lead. Jim Walsh now is up into the silver medal contention, and Jeffrey Moore, the number 32, finds himself maybe headed toward bronze. Welcome back, everybody. GT2 here at Heartland Park, and here's a look back at what's unfolded in the race. First at the start, everything was good until they crested the brow and dropped down into turn 1, and then a grand carambolage.
Yeah, they just bumped into each other. The 32 and Patton there in the Sunbeam Tiger took the big hit, ripped the front of the nose off, and then the 2 Panoses are out.
Patton not real happy with those developments and let both of the drivers that were involved in that got stopped know. He wasn't very pleased, especially on the opening lap. After a caution to clear it up, the restart, and Waylon Joe in that white Porsche at the very front timed it beautifully, just got a little bit of a jump over Jim Goffrey in that red and yellow 350Z, but a few laps later, smoke out of the exhaust pipe, and Goffrey's day was done. And there's some oil that may have been laid down in the front straight, so we'll keep an eye on that. So here's Waylon Joe. His margin now as a result of Goffrey's off. His margin right now over 8 seconds. So unless Waylon has some huge problem, he looked real good.
He does look real good. The only thing he has to watch out for now is some traffic. He hasn't put a wheel wrong the whole day. The first start, he was able to just make it clean through there, and same thing the rest of the day.
All right, we go back, take a look at the battle that is for 10th with Timothy Gray, and the number 60 has now gone around the 75 of Milton Grant, and that's 9th and 10th. Now that we factor in the retirement for Jim Goffrey as he has dropped out of the order. So these two guys now in the top 10 and having a very strong battle. You talked about them at the top of the show as the 2 division champions. They've moved into the top 10 and are having a very stout battle.
Yeah, the Toyota looks like you know, he was able to hold the Porsche off for a while, but the power prevailed. It looked like he was able to get by.
And if the name Grant rings a bell, you bet one of the Grant's Army clan. There's a bunch of them here. We were actually joking that if the Grants ever stop racing, the club might be in trouble. They've got so many entries here, and they just love the runoffs and always come to play, but they come and play very fast. Great drivers. Ooh, look at this battle. That's actually, I think, some traffic, as the 32 of Jeff Moore has just gone around and put a lap on the very, very beautiful 240Z, or the 280Z, excuse me, of Tom Vlasic.
Yeah, that's the extreme in this class. You have the brand new Porsche, and you have the early Nissan or Datsun in that case, racing in this class, and it's hard to make those the same.
Yep, excuse me, that was Tony Giordano, by the way, in that 280Z. Meanwhile, we go back to this battle. That is the 58 of Evan Gardner. And let's keep in mind now, with Godfrey being out, Gardner now running in the 6th spot, and Derek Jones in the Boxster, the red Boxster, now up into 7th. And even though Baynard has gone around and Gardner has gone around, Derek Jones is staying there. He's not exactly letting Gardner just run away.
No, he's not. The RX-7 here has been doing a heck of a job. The Boxster looks like, you know, it's been a decent car all day, very smooth, but not had enough speed to challenge Evan Gardner.
It looks good in the corners, just doesn't quite have it down the straight. Gardner using every inch of track, carrying every bit of speed he can, and so far that's got him in the top 6. We'll see if he's got anything for a top 5. Waylon Joe looking good for gold. The defending champion, Waylon Joe, looking to go back-to-back in the #1 Porsche in the battle for the gold in GT2 at the SCCA Championship Runoffs. Waylon Joe looking very good at this point. His margin still right around 8 seconds over Jim Walsh in another of the Porsches, and the number 32 running in 3rd, another of the Porsches. So Porsche looking for a medal sweep here at Heartland Park.
Yeah, these cars are beautiful. They it's basically a factory car that you can buy. They're very, very fast.
And let's drop back just a little bit to the battle for 9th. Tim Gray and Milton Grant, these two, they've been very, very close quarters the entire race. Gray just right now seems to have the measure. And this, I'm going to get back to that question I asked. The car that's leading, one of those Porsche GT3s, you said it's a not a tube frame car, and then you've got the guy behind it is in a tube frame chassis with front engine rear drive. Any tires in this, any kind of an advantage there?
Well, the Porsche has a lot of rear weight, and the Toyota's got the weight spread out all over. I think it has a lot smaller rear tire, so the Toyota's going to be in trouble in that way, but he doesn't have as much power. Lighter car, handles better. The Porsche is maybe a heavier car, a little bit more speed on the straightaway.
All right, we go back to this battle, which has been a good one, Evan Gardner, and then you see Derek Jones closing up on him. There is the 96 of Walsh, and the 32 of Moore has reeled him in. Walsh had a pretty solid margin, and 32 Moore has found it in the late going. 2 laps to go, and Jim Walsh suddenly sees that silver medal looking a little bit more iffy with the speed in the late going here of Jeff Moore.
Yeah, Walsh was about 2 seconds off on that lap, and another second off on this lap. We'll see. I think Moore can get him.
And he's got 1 lap to do it, so now it gets real interesting in this battle at this point. Walsh out of turn 2, heading into the big, long 180-degree carousel of turn 3, slight climb. And 32 is right there. This next series of corners is huge.
Yeah, you need to be careful going into turn 5. The 96 here needs to hold the inside a little bit, slow him up. And looks like he did that in turn 6. You need to be a little careful here. This leads out onto the back straightaway. This is really, really important. Huge. Slow down and then gas it. Leave as straight as you can. It looks like Walsh did a pretty good job there. There's another place to pass up ahead here going into turn 9, but it's very risky.
Yeah, it is so fast now. But boy, did Moore get a run. He is closing up on the back of Walsh. Oh, some smoke for number 60, Tim Gray. So he may be in trouble, and there goes Grant. He goes by. Meanwhile, here we go. And look at Walsh, the bob and weave, trying to keep Moore behind him. And he has done it, heading through turn number 10. There's Waylon Joe. He's backed off. He knows he's got it. He's comfortable. But can Jeff Moore find a way to shoehorn his way by the 96 of Walsh for a silver? You can see he's trying to open up his entry, trying to find a way to square up, get underneath. Last turn, there is Waylon Joe. He is going to get the gold. The battle behind him. You saw Walsh go way wide. Moore tried to square up. Waylon Joe gets the checker in the battle for second. And the silver, it stays with Jim Walsh. But in the late going, Jeff Moore found some serious speed and made it very interesting. A great battle for the silver, and Walsh and Moore. And there's the number 60 of Tim Gray, who had looked, the 50 of Ryan, who had looked so good, and everything went wrong. A motor let go, and the 75 of Milton Grant and a few others able to go by. But for Waylon Joe, a defense of a gold medal 2 in a row. That's tough to do, especially when you haven't done a whole lot of runoffs.
Yeah, he did a very good job there. Didn't put a wheel wrong the whole day.
Yep, 2 gold medals and 3 tries at the runoff, Sandy. That's not too bad.
It's not bad. I'm with Tom Burek, his crew chief. What a sigh of relief you gave when he crossed the finish line.
You're not kidding. I thank heaven that nothing else happened. The race was full of attrition. Panos both went out. Tom Patton, Tim Gray at the end, his tire let go. And Goffrey, it's just unbelievable. I thank God that Waylon was able to hold on to it and see it through to the end. It's just
okay. Congratulations, that's Tom Burek, winning crew chief for Waylon Joe.
And Waylon Joe on his cool down lap, he'll be coming in and getting a gold medal, and we'll be there when he does and talk to our double defending gold medalist in Grand Touring 2 here at the Runoffs. Welcome back to Heartland Park, Topeka. The GT2 National Championship has been completed, and Sandy Hang has our gold medalist.
I'm with Waylon Joe. One heck of a ride. There's a lot of slicing and dicing behind you. What were you thinking? You come back around, see all these cars off the track?
Well, I got in a little trouble out there, too. I almost went off the track because I hit some of the mud on the outside, but I managed to recover. That was before Jim Godfrey got out, went out of the race. But it is slippery out there because of the rain. There's mud on the track from cars tracking mud back onto the track when they go off. And, I know we're like 3 seconds off our pace from our qualifying.
How is that difficult in a race against yourself, really mentally, to stay focused when you've got obstacles that aren't exactly cars?
Right. Well, I just was praying that everyone else was running just as slow as I was, because of the conditions. So, knock on wood, thank God, and thank Porsche Motorsports, Hoosiers.
You did a great job. You ran a smart race. That is your champion there, Waylon Joe.
Yeah, he did an absolutely great job. That's a good point. We had a ton of rain yesterday, so some of the grip is gone. Cars, a little bit of mud on the track and everything. It's made it very slick and dicey, and Waylon Joe worried about the speed, but it affected everybody else. And as a result, he gets the medal. Walsh and Moore, a top four sweep by Porsches. And look at Paul Bernard, that beautiful Toyota you were talking about, gets into the top 5.
Yeah, that was a really beautiful car. And a lot of these cars moved up. Dave Lemon started way back there in 17th, so he had to move up 5 spots.
And unfortunately, Goffrey and Patton, a couple of former medalists in the category, both ran into some problems. And they're going to come back, I'm sure, and try and do it again. There is Waylon Joe with 2 medals, and the guys who finished behind him are with Biz.
Well, I'll tell you, this 96 car came in here without a scratch, and for his first runoffs ever, Jim Walsh, congratulations on a silver medal. What a great run.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I got a little lucky at the first corner there.
What did you see there?
Oh, I saw a whole bunch of guys all trying to get into the same space for one car, and they took each other out, and I kept to the inside and had clear running, and I was in third.
And then on the last lap, you had some more excitement. Your mirrors were full of the 32 car.
I had 32 car behind me. I had kept a little bit of a pace, and I had some left in me. Kept a line. Not a big worry.
Well, congratulations. Okay, Jeff Moore was in that 32 car. He just said that you weren't a big worry, but you were trying very hard. Beautiful job there at the end.
Yes, and Jim did a good job. The race was kind of a lot of havoc out there, a lot of broken down cars, but it was fun to mix it up. And on the last lap, I gave him a little work, and he handled it well.
Well, where were you catching him?
I caught him coming out of turn 6, but I didn't have enough to get through him in 10 or 12 or 13. He took an inside line, so the only way I could beat him would be to take the outside line, which I tried, but I took the outside line and couldn't straighten the car out in a hurry. So.
Well, Jeff, congratulations on a great third place.
Thank you.
Okay, guys.
You bet. Medals for those two and an absolutely great run. And it was interesting. We saw that shot of the 96 car, not a mark on it, so he was not involved in that incident at the start other than just trying to avoid it. And so congratulations to Jim Walsh, and congratulations to all the competitors who come here from around the country. And this is it. This is the battle for the medals in a national championship, and it produces that kind of intensity and this kind of reaction when something goes wrong to be expected. Tough racing in a great category, and we've seen it here at Heartland Park, Topeka.
Yes, we have. Pretty great day. Patton's a pretty nice guy. I was kind of shocked that he was that upset, but you know, his car's tore up and makes for a long week.
Absolutely it does. So some intense racing and a lot more to come your way right here on Speed at the National Championship Runoffs. And Whale and Joe, congratulations.